Hello out there, I'm the oldest nerd. Usually I'm not one to review movies unless I'm with Professor O, and it's almost never that I'll review a new movie, but today I'm going to make an exception. This weekend my daughter invited us to go see Project Hail Mary. Now the film is based on the book by Andy Weir, who also wrote The Martian, which Professor O and I reviewed last week. In this story, Ryland Grace, a middle school science teacher with a PhD in molecular biology, played by Ryan Gosling, wakes up aboard a spaceship light years from Earth. He's been in cryosleep and has no memory of how he got there or why. Through flashbacks, he finds out why he's there, as do we. It seems the sun is being slowly but surely blacked out by an astrophage, Greek word for star eater, to the extent that in 30 years the Earth and everything living on it, at least almost, will die, as it would trigger a new ice age. Grace is there to find out why only one local star is not being affected. By some chance, he meets a rock-like alien whose ship approaches his with a desire to work with Grace. The alien, who's dubbed Rocky by Grace, is an engineer on a similar mission from his home planet. Without giving away any important plot points, I noticed that the similarities between this film and The Martian include what someone called competence porn. Here we have two distinctly different individuals with different skills that are complementary to each other. They do the math, they work the problem, then the next problem. Unlike The Martian, Grace doesn't have to deal with loneliness, at least for very long, but has to go from fear to understanding to trust and finally to friendship. The film raises the question, what would you be willing to do to help others that would not help yourself? Would you sacrifice yourself to save the world or a friend? It's unusual in this time to have a mainstream film that doesn't have violence, profanity, or nudity, although there was a scene with a cool explosion in this picture. The PG-13 rating is for references to suicide missions, if you're concerned with that. At the core of the story, though, it's about friendship, trust, working together, and getting the job done. It doesn't take a hero or someone who's brave in the traditional sense. Ryan Gosling plays the everyman role pretty well. He's somewhat of a klutz in space. Sandra Huller is flawless as the project leader. James Ortiz, who performs and voices Rocky, imbues likability in the alien. And you may recognize Aaron Neal from The Bear and Melania Von Traub from the AT&T commercials. The entire cast does their job very well. There are very few optical effects in the film. Much of what we see is done practically. So while the story is a drama, there's plenty of room for comic relief, which is all situational, thankfully. The ending makes sense. I left the theater feeling that my time was well spent. If you haven't seen the movie, I recommend it. I'm glad I didn't wait for the streaming or video release myself. It was filmed in IMAX originally, but looked beautiful on a regular theater screen. If you haven't seen it, please share your thoughts with me below. Tomorrow, Professor O will join me and we'll talk about this film as well as Serenity. So until then, please don't forget to subscribe and like, and don't go far.